scans. So we thought we will just revise whatever information we can give to the our members and students as such, as how to go for their ultrasound detection and diagnosis. Very brief about scrotum anatomy. The testes, the normal dimensions given in European and Western literature is 5 by 3 by 2 centimeters, and volume ranges from 15 to 25 cc. Epididymis has got head and body, tail. The head size is around 5 to 10 millimeters and is as a pyramidal structure. The body of the epididymis is 2 to 4 millimeter thick, and the cord, as seen here, contains the vas deferens, testicular artery, the pampiniform venous plexus, lymphatic ducts, and genitofemoral nerve. Venous drainage, where we will concentrate today, is via the pampiniform plexus, and it drains into the internal spermatic vein at the internal inguinal ring. So this is how the testicular venous drainage is there. The veins of the pampiniform plexus that drain the testes, they form two groups. One group is aligned with or wrapped around the testicular artery, and other group is separately drains into the internal spermatic vein. There is minimal drainage through other veins. Those are cremasteric veins or the differential veins that move around the vas deferens. The cremasteric, the gubernacular, the differential veins, they drain into the iliac veins, either the external iliac vein or the internal iliac vein, whereas the left internal spermatic vein that drains directly into the left renal vein, whereas the right drains into the IVC. So, okay. So there was a power failure resulting into internet disturbance. So we will resume again. So the testicular drainage is via the veins of the pampiniform plexus. It forms two bundles. One is around the artery, and other goes directly into the internal spermatic vein. Whereas very minimal drainage is via the cremasteric vein or the differential vein. So all these veins, they drain into either into external iliac or the external iliac artery. All these means the extrafunicular veins. But and on venography, it is said that it is unlikely that all these extrafunicular veins contribute to primary or recurrent varicocele. Whereas the internal spermatic vein on the left side goes to the left renal vein, and on the right side goes to the IVC. So coming to varicocele, which means bag of worms appearance, it is. Huh? लाइन आई क्या? ओके, ये तो अपना देखो, अपना चालू हो गया होगा ना अभी नेट, देखो वाईफाई. नहीं, आईपी चालू नहीं हो गया अभी तो. नहीं, अपना नेट आ गया कॉलेज का. अच्छा अच्छा. नहीं देखा नहीं. Okay. So there was a internet issue, so we'll just begin our presentation that varicocele is abnormal dilatation of veins in the pampiniform plexus. It's quite common condition. Usually they are idiopathic, commonly found in adolescents and young adults, and we know it is more common on left side. It is more common, said to be more common in tall and thin built individuals. It affects testicular growth if it is gross, and many patients have got abnormal sperm count and motility issues. So what are the reasons for dilation of reflux in the primary varicocele? Why it is common in left side? Because this left testicular vein that drains into the left renal vein, and this perpendicular angle sometimes is a cause of reflux here and formation of varicocele. Whereas the right testicular veins usually inserts at the by making a certain angle, acute angle with the IVC, and therefore there is less chance here. Another cause is the left testicular vein has a longer course, so there is more what you can say gradient in the venous pressure between the renal vein and here. So therefore there are more chances of getting reflux on that side. And this is again the reason when the clinically you don't see bilateral varicoceles more, and isolated right varicoceles are also rare to certain extent. Then other reasons for dilation and reflux in the primary varicocele is incompetence of the walls in the internal spermatic veins. This is postulated mechanism, and some studies have done anatomical studies, and they have found that there can be absence or less number of walls in these veins, and that is the resulting into varicocele. Some other studies have postulated that there is a presence of other alternate connections between the internal spermatic vein and the systemic venous circulation, and that connection they don't have anti-reflux mechanism. This is again a cause of recurrence after ligation and embolization of internal spermatic veins. One more cause is renal nutcracker syndrome or May-Turner syndrome, wherein there is compression of left renal vein between the SMA and aorta, or there is compression of the left common iliac vein due to left common artery, and this results in stasis, and you can get the dilation of the spermatic veins or the veins of the pampiniform plexus. Sometimes you get secondary varicocele where some cause is there. For example, in RCC, as it spreads through the veins, there can be obstruction of left renal vein by the tumor, or there could be retroperitoneal tumors or retroperitoneal fibrosis that can give rise to secondary varicocele. It is also seen in cirrhotic patients where there is portal hypertension. So treatment, this is the treatable cause of male infertility, as therefore there is much importance for the diagnosis of this patient. So either endovascular treatment by transvenous varicocele embolization, where the selective catheterization of the spermatic vein is done, and occlusion is done with sclerosant or embolic devices, or there is open or laparoscopic surgery. They identify and ligate the dilated veins. So what is our role? Usually patient is clinically diagnosed to have left varicocele, and the surgeon sends to us for evaluation. So what we should evaluate? Our role is to confirm the clinical diagnosis, then define the extent till what level the veins are dilated, then how the veins are dilated, measure them, that we will see later. Then find subclinical varicocele, that is sometimes seen in left side. Patient has got infertility or low sperm count. Clinically varicocele is not fed. Still patient is referred for Doppler of scrotum to see whether there is subclinical varicocele. And if you find some abnormality, then do a VALSALVA maneuver, then do a spectral Doppler, and document whatever we see, whether it is normal, whether it is abnormal. If abnormal, what is the type of abnormality, and accordingly try to grade the varicocele. So this is technique, we will see it in demo also. You should start with patient's head neutral. That is quite important. Patient should not raise his head, because that indirectly increases the intra-abdominal pressure and you lose the information required. So always start from the cord, look at the cord whether you are seeing any abnormal vessels, then epididymis, and then the testes. You should measure the testicular volume, The formula given is length into width into height by 0.71. This is different from other organs where we use 0.52 or 0.5 as the volume measurements. So this we should remember, that testicular volume should be measured by this formula. Many Indian studies have reported that the testicular length in Indian population is less than 4 centimeters and volume is less than 20 cc. So that we should remember that in Indian population the volume is slightly less. And always do a bilateral scan and try to find out abnormality unilateral or bilateral. Then first, always whenever you do a color Doppler, let it be scrotum, let it be peripheral, let it be any other, finish the B mode first. Whatever information you are getting on B mode, try to augment it with color Doppler. Don't put color Doppler on in the first instance, so you may lose some B mode information. So color Doppler is useful for judging the extent of the dilated veins. Then you can measure the diameter of the largest vein. And all these studies should be done with minimal probe pressure. Positions that has been described, you can do it in supine and standing, and the examination should be done with spontaneous breathing and in VALSALVA maneuver also. Once you see, this is how minimal probe pressure affects, enhances your examination. If you press that spermatic cord, see we are in a habit of doing ultrasound abdomen primarily, and we are just pressing the abdomen, try to see the organs because you want to displace bowel or you want to reduce the depth of the field so that you can see the organs in a nice fashion. Here you see that once you have pressed, you don't see these veins, and if you release the pressure, some same veins can be seen very nicely. Now the pressure has been released and you can see the veins in the pampiniform plexus, all are red, seen in red, and they are seen nicely. And again, if you compress that vein, you won't get any spectral information from that vein. For doing VALSALVA, again head neutral should be there, minimal pressure we have seen. We have to use proper steering of the spectral Doppler or color Doppler, and you have to use very low PRF. This is the example how you use the steering. See, these veins are seen here. This is the cord and veins will be in this direction. The steering was in opposite direction and we couldn't see these veins. And once the steering has been changed, you can see these veins very nicely. I'll show it again. The direction of steering should be proper. If you keep it on the other direction, the Doppler angle will be mere and the Doppler shift will not be measurable. You have made it proper, the Doppler angle has reduced, and now you can see the reflux very nicely. Other thing is the PRF we have reduced here, and same veins are seen in a better fashion, and you can evaluate the reflux nicely. So all these 4 things you should remember while doing VALSALVA and spectral Doppler as well. So what do you see on color Doppler? You should look for increase in size. The size will be increased if there is varicocele. You can measure the size of the vein and report. Then you can see the change in direction. For example, this red has become blue here. This blue has become red here. That you should see. And the size has increased. That you should document. Same is true. You can see that change in color flow here in this image. So once you see that changes in color direction, you repeat the examination standing if required, and then again repeat once or twice. What happens sometimes in color Doppler, due to probe movement you get erroneous findings. So it's better to do spectral Doppler, and these are examples of how the flow is enhanced after doing VALSALVA. You see the same direction of flow here, whereas here the direction of flow changes from blue to red. So this is normal flow, and it refluxes to and changes its color. This is a chart I got from one article, how varicocele is associated with decrease in fertility potential. They have given multiple factors like oxidative stress, testicular hypoperfusion, heat stress, and retrograde flow of metabolites and all that. So whatever it is, we know it affects the fertility, and that is why it has got importance. This is how the spectral recording can be done. you can see that at rest there is some flow in the vein, and now after doing Valsalva the flow is completely ceased. This is a normal response to Valsalva. And so why spectral Doppler is added? Because it's done to avoid the pitfalls in identifying reflux. So this is another example. You can see lot of reflux on Valsalva, and same patient at same location. Then you can do the spectral Doppler and try to document or confirm your diagnosis of reflux. So this is a spectral Doppler showing that the flow was above the baseline before, and then after doing Valsalva you can see that the flow has become blue in the color mode, and it has gone below the baseline. So varicocele is one of the clinical condition that has been studied extensively by many people, right from radiologists, surgeons, urologists, everywhere. And on ultrasound and color Doppler, many classifications have been given. Out of that, this classification given by Sartesi et al. In 1993 is one of the more accepted, as would say, or more used classification system. Here they have graded it into 1 to 5 grades, and the level, it depends on the level of dilated veins, their response to Valsalva, and the testicular size. So grade 1 is at the level of groin with reflux with normal testicular size. Grade 2 is up to the proximal pampiniform plexus with reflux on Valsalva and normal testicular size. Grade 3 is the distal at the vessels at the level of lower scrotum with reflux. The testicular size will be normal or small. In grade 4 there will be spontaneous reverse flow, and there will be, instead of reflux, there will be augmented because it is already reversed. And then testicle size is generally small, but it is not a rule. And grade 5, the reflux is resting in the dilated pampiniform plexus. There is augmentation, and here the testicular size is always small. So some examples: this is grade 2, that is reflux at the proximal segment of the pampiniform plexus on Valsalva. You can see in both cine loops that there is change in direction of color in the veins in the pampiniform plexus, whereas there are no dilated veins around the testes or up to the lower pole of the scrotum. Same grade 2, another example, still images showing the change in direction in color and change in direction in the spectral Doppler. This is grade 3, where the vessels are dilated up to the lower part of the scrotum, and you can see there is reflux that is seen on color mode as well as in the spectral mode. Here if you see the left testis where a varicocele is, it is smaller than the right one. So this is associated with testicular hypertrophy as per this Sartesi classification. Next, grade 4, there you get the flow is already reversed, and it just increases during Valsalva maneuver. If you see here, this is simultaneous mode, where you can see B mode as well as color mode, and in the direction of flow remains same there. And on spectral Doppler, it is just augmentation of flow. This is probably the highest grade, grade 5, where it is reflux at rest, and it only increases in the same direction after Valsalva. You can see here testicular size is small, is hardly 2.5 centimeter in length, and you can see the vessels are dilated up to the lower pole of the scrotum. This one more article I found in the literature. They have different. They applied different methodology to grade this reflux. They call it as a hemodynamic staging of reflux, and they have graded it into 1, 2, 3, 4. And just as per them, the reflux can it could be a reflux, that is change in direction. It could be augmentation, that means there will be no flow at rest, but on Valsalva it will increase. There could be enhancement, that is that we have seen in the earlier example. Flow is there, but that increases. And last would be there will be stasis. There will be either no flow, or whatever flow is there, it will not get stopped, or it will remain same. And they have correlated with normal morphology of sperm and the total motility, and they have found that it is quite low in all these types of refluxes. So to have a guideline or recommendations so that there should be uniformity in evaluation of varicocele. The European Society of Urogenital Radiology formed a group for detection, classification and grading of varicocele. It was reported in 2020, and they have framed 15 questions about the evidence of varicocele, how it is classified, what should be the size of dilated vein, or how to measure the testicular size, how the ultrasound technique should be performed in varicocele, what is the how evaluation of reflux should be done, how long should be the reflux, what should be the reflux velocity, and how it should be reported, what is the use of intratesticular Doppler form, and what should be the approach in right-sided varicocele, how to follow up subclinical varicocele, and what to do after treatment, and how should we examine the abdomen always, or what are the pitfalls in imaging of varicoceles. So they have given 23 recommendations. I have just enumerated the important ones amongst them. So examination should be bilateral. You should do testicular volume estimation. It is important to document patient position, location of the veins relative to the cord or testes. You should measure the largest vein either in supine or standing, with or without Valsalva. And wherever you get more than 3 mm diameter of vein, it is diagnostic of varicocele. Reflux again is diagnostic. Reflux more than 2 seconds is again an indicator. Spectral Doppler examination is must. Reflux velocity is not much useful. For subclinical varicocele, you should do follow-up. For isolated right varicocele, ultrasound abdomen is indicated. If there is acute development of varicocele in child or adolescent, USG abdomen should be done. You should be able to, you should differentiate between varicocele and other tubular structures in the cord. And in post-operative follow-up cases, usually semen analysis is more useful to find the efficacy of the surgical or the intervention radiological procedure. So what your report should be there? We should mention the technique, the position, or the whether it is at rest or at Valsalva. Should measure ultrasound size and volume of the testes. Associated findings, evaluation of epididymis, cord, sac, then size of the largest vein, whether that was measured at rest or Valsalva. The extent of dilated veins you should report. You should do a color Doppler then, and then followed by spectral Doppler, and you should report the pattern, whether there is reflux or there is enhancement of the flow, and the time for which the reflux is there, and finally grade accordingly. So that's how you should evaluate the scrotum for varicocele, and we will now do some demonstration on cases about evaluation of varicocele. Thank you.